Hi my stars and galaxies, today we are reading Crown of Thorns and Thistle. Let's get into it. Part 1. The Scholar Prince. Timothy Drake had never expected to see the inside of a royal hall, much less to live in one. The boy he had been, the boy of ink-stained fingers and threadbare sleeves, bent over scrolls in a drafty attic library, would have laughed at the thought. Tim had been the son of a minor scholar in the capital, overlooked even by those who sold him parchment on credit. Knowledge had been his only coin. Then King Bruce had seen him. No one knew exactly why. The court whispered a dozen theories, that Tim was some bastard son of nobility, that he had uncovered blackmail hidden in dusty ledgers, that he had begged so pitifully in the street, the king himself had relented. None were true. The truth was sharper, simpler. King Bruce of House Wayne had found a boy with wit honed to a blade's edge, and had taken him in, not out of sentiment, but out of strategy. So Tim became a prince. Reluctant, unwanted, adopted not by blood, but by calculation. And now he sat at the long stone table, in the great hall of Wayne Keep, the only one with a book propped open beside his goblet. His new brothers and sisters argued over battle reports, raiding routes, and assassination attempts, like it was the most natural thing in the world. 3 wyvern nests were spotted past the eastern ridge. Richard, Crown Prince of Wayne, bright as gold and deadly as sunlight, leaned casually over the map. He smiled at the gathered knights. "I'll lead the hunt myself. Good training for the men." Jason snorted. And a good way to get half of them roasted alive. The commander's broad shoulders were tense under his black armor, his scarred hands drumming against the table. The torchlight caught strangely in his eyes, ghost fire lingering from the day he'd fallen in battle and clawed his way back. "Don't tell me you're afraid of a little fire, brother," Dick teased, grinning. Jason bared his teeth. "Not afraid, just not an idiot." Damien, youngest of them, sharp-featured and sharper-tongued, cut across. "Both of you are fools. A wyvern nest should be eradicated swiftly and without posturing. Father should send me." "You're 12, Jason snapped. "I'm 13, Damien corrected coldly, "and better trained than any of you." Tim stayed quiet. He'd learned quickly in this house that silence was safer. He turned a page of his book, feigning disinterest, even as his ears drank in every word. Cassandra, Princess, Shadow, and Silent Spy, sat opposite him. She caught his glance, raised a brow in wordless amusement, then went back to sharpening her dagger. Above them all, at the head of the table, King Bruce listened. His dark gaze flicked from child to child, weighing, measuring, cutting to the bone of every word without ever raising his voice. When he finally spoke, it was not about wyverns. "Timothy," the king said. Tim's spine went rigid. "Your Majesty?" "The northern woods." Bruce tapped the map, calloused finger pressing against the faded ink of the wilds. "There is movement there. Strange magic. You will investigate." The hall went still. Richard blinked. "Father, surely you mean one of us. The northern woods are Fey territory." "Precisely." Bruce's eyes did not leave Tim. "Steel will not serve us there, but wit might. Timothy has studied their kind." Jason muttered something about throwing a lamb to the wolves. Damien scoffed outright. "You cannot be serious. He has no training, no weapon, no—" "No fear," Bruce interrupted. The words landed like a stone. Tim felt them sink into him, heavy and unwanted. He wanted to protest, to insist he was no prince, no knight, no diplomat, that he had only read the ancient stories, half-truths and contradictory accounts scrawled by long-dead men. But Bruce's gaze pinned him in place, and Tim, as ever, obeyed. "As you command," Tim said softly. The northern woods waited 3 days' ride from the keep, and in that time, Tim discovered the difference between being a scholar and being a prince. As a scholar's son, he would have been sent off with a sack of stale bread and a borrowed mule. As a prince, he rode under Wayne banners, armored knights flanking him, and Cassandra herself at his side, though she said nothing, only watching him with eyes that saw too much. Jason rode with them for the first mile, silent but scowling, before reining in his horse. "If the woods eat you alive," he muttered, "don't say I didn't warn you." Then he turned back toward the keep, ghostfire flickering faintly at his heels. At the edge of the northern forest, even the knights hesitated. The trees loomed black against the horizon, twisted with thorn and shadow. Birds did not sing there. The air itself hummed wrong. Cassandra pressed a small dagger into Tim's hand. "You'll need it." Tim stared at the blade. "Steel doesn't work against the Fae." She tilted her head. "Not for them, for you." And then she was gone, melting into the tree line like smoke. Tim swallowed hard, squared his shoulders, and stepped alone into the woods. The forest closed around him like a living thing. Branches arched overhead, weaving a cage of shadow and silvered moonlight. Thorns snagged at his cloak. The air smelled of frost and ash. He marked every step carefully, counting, memorizing, whispering the old rules to himself like prayers. Do not eat their food, do not speak your name, do not bargain without cost. But when the path twisted and the trees pressed closer, Tim felt the rules slip through his fingers like water. And somewhere, watching unseen, something ancient smiled. Part 2. The Forest of Thorns. The forest did not want him. Tim could feel it in the way the branches swayed when no wind stirred, in the prickling at the back of his neck, in the thorns that reached for his sleeves, as if eager to draw blood. Each step deeper was a trespass. Each breath, a theft. He pulled his cloak tighter and pressed forward. He had studied every fragment he could find on the Feywilds, their wards, their glamour, their merciless bargains. But the ink on parchment had never captured this suffocating weight, this sense of being prey beneath the gaze of a hunter he could not see. Tim did not quicken his pace. Predators chased what ran. The path beneath him was more suggestion than trail, narrowing with every step, until the trees pressed so close. Their bark rasped against his shoulders. The light shifted strangely here, moonlight threading through branches where no moon was visible, shadows twisting even when he stood still. He whispered another rule under his breath, a mantra to anchor himself. Count your steps. Count your breaths. Do not lose track. By the 50th step, his lungs burned with frost. By the 100th, the trees seemed to whisper in voices he almost recognized. By the 120th, he was certain he was being followed. He did not look back. Instead, Tim opened his book. He had carried it against every warning, tucked into the leather satchel at his side. A battered compendium of Fey folklore, half legible, half lies. He scanned the cramped script by moonlight, searching for anything useful. Silver binds, salt repels, iron burn. He murmured, but words wound deepest of all. The forest laughed. It was not sound, not truly. More the creak of branches bending, the rustle of unseen wings, the sharp snap of thorns curling into shape. But it was laughter nonetheless. And it was close. Tim froze. His hand tightened on Cassandra's dagger. He turned slowly. And the path was gone. No trail, no direction, only endless walls of trees pressing in on all sides. His stomach lurched. He had been counting, he had been careful. He should not have lost it, unless the forest itself had shifted around him. His breath quickened despite himself. He forced it steady, clutching his satchel like a lifeline. Do not panic, he told himself. That's what it wants. Something moved behind him. Tim whirled, knife raised, and saw him. The figure stood half in shadow, half in silver light. At first glance, he might have been mistaken for human. Lean frame, dark hair tousled by wind, eyes glinting in the dark. But the details betrayed him. Wings unfurled from his back, delicate as shattered glass, sharp-edged and glittering with frost. Thorns curled down his arms like living vines. His gaze burned with otherworldly light. A Fae. No, something older, something angrier. Tim's throat went dry. His studies had not prepared him for this. The Fae tilted his head, regarding him as one might regard a stray dog. Tim stayed quiet. That had wandered too close. He'd learned quickly in this house that silence was safer. He turned a page of his book, feigning disinterest, even as his ears drank in every word. Prince, he said, voice low, and edged like broken crystal. What are you doing in my woods? Tim's heart stuttered. He did not correct him. Not that he was no true prince. Not that his crown was borrowed. The rules were clear. Never give away what you did not wish stolen. I was sent, Tim said carefully. His voice was steady, even if his pulse was not. Strange magic has been reported here. I came to investigate. The Fae's lips curved into something that was not quite a smile. Investigate, he repeated, as though tasting the word. Mortals always come with such noble lies. It's not a lie. Tim tightened his grip on the dagger. The kingdom is concerned. If there is danger here. Danger? The Fae laughed again, and this time it was unmistakable, sharp as thorns tearing skin. You tread on cursed ground, mortal, and speak to me of danger? His wings flared, scattering shards of cold light across the trees. For a heartbeat, Tim could not breathe. But then, the scholar in him stirred. He studied the thorns curling over the Fae's skin, the way his breath frosted in the air. The bitterness threaded through every word. This was not a creature of seelie beauty or unseelie cruelty. This was something else. Who are you? Tim asked softly. The Fae's gaze snapped to him, startled. Few mortals dared to ask. Fewer survived the answer. For a long moment, silence stretched between them. Then the Fae said, almost grudgingly, I am the Thistle Prince, exiled from seelie and unseelie alike. These woods are mine, mortal, and mine alone. Thistle Prince. Tim's mind sparked at the name, rifling through every scrap of lore he had read. Exile. Thorn. Wings like frostbitten glass. His breath caught. Danny, he whispered. The Fae stilled. No mortal should have known that name. And in the sudden silence, the forest itself seemed to lean closer, listening.